Today is January 20th, 2026. On the map, borders seem clear, but some places exist in a gray area, like Somaliland. Somaliland, on the Horn of Africa, has its own government, currency, and army. It holds democratic elections and maintains peace, rare in its region. For over 30 years, its people have built a functioning nation from scratch. Yet, the world refuses to recognize it. To the UN, it's just an autonomous region of Somalia. This lack of recognition means no international loans, no development aid, and exclusion from the global financial system. Somaliland's story is about survival and thriving by forging its own path, not following international rules. Its people, left with little choice, depended on themselves, drawing on tradition, ingenuity, and local resources. They built a state through practical, local decisions, not foreign blueprints. This often put them at odds with institutions like the IMF and UN, which favor standardized models. Somaliland's defiance was pragmatic, shaped by the failures and trauma of Somalia's civil war. They knew imported solutions wouldn't work. Their answers had to be homegrown. This essay explores how Somaliland built its institutions, managed its economy, and fostered peace, often in direct contradiction to global expectations. It's a lesson in self-reliance and the power of local solutions. To understand Somaliland's path, we must look at its painful history. In 1960, British Somaliland gained independence, then united with Italian Somaliland to form Somalia. Hopes for unity faded as power concentrated in Mogadishu, leaving the north marginalized. Under Siad Barre's dictatorship, oppression intensified, especially against the Izak clan. Cities like Hargeisa were bombed, tens of thousands killed, and hundreds of thousands displaced. This trauma forged unity and a desire for self-determination. When Barre's regime collapsed in 1991, chaos engulfed Somalia, but Somaliland's leaders chose a different path. They prioritized peace and rebuilding, not power struggles. On May 18, 1991, clan elders declared Somaliland's independence at a grand conference in Barrow. This was a consensus, not a military victory, born of survival, not ambition. With cities in ruins and no international help, Somalilanders faced the monumental task of nation-building alone. Their shared trauma became the foundation for a new beginning. Independence was just the start. Somaliland had no institutions, police, or functioning economy. The world focused on Mogadishu, pushing for a strong central government. Somaliland's leaders rejected this, turning to their own traditions. They created a hybrid system, Somali customary law, Xir, blended with modern democracy. Clan elders led peace and reconciliation conferences, disarming militias and resolving disputes. This bottom-up approach built stability, unlike the top-down UN efforts in the South. The 1993 Barama Conference was pivotal. Hundreds of delegates debated for months, creating a national charter. They established a two-chamber parliament, an elected House of Representatives, and a House of Elders, Gurdi. This locally rooted system proved effective, building police, courts, and civil service with minimal outside help. International bodies were skeptical, pushing for reunification with Somalia. But Somalilanders stuck with what worked for them. Their organic, inclusive process contrasted sharply with foreign-led models. Stability was achieved through local legitimacy, not imported solutions. Somaliland's state-building was slow, but it endured. Their formula: tradition, consensus, and practical adaptation. The IMF and UN operate for recognized states. Somaliland was left out. No access to loans, development aid, or global financial systems. Standard post-conflict prescriptions, foreign aid, IMF guidance, were unavailable. Somaliland survived on local taxes with little outside help. The UN focused on Somali unity, channeled aid through Mogadishu, leaving Somaliland with little. This created a paradox. Somaliland's peace was praised, but policies hindered its development. The IMF and World Bank couldn't engage. The UN couldn't fully support its separate path. Somaliland was stuck. To get help, it needed recognition. To get recognition, it had to give up independence. Yet, it continued to build on its own terms. The world's rigid frameworks left Somaliland to innovate out of necessity. Livestock exports, especially to Saudi Arabia, were Somaliland's economic lifeblood. In the late 1990s, a Saudi ban on livestock imports devastated the economy. With no IMF safety net, government revenues and livelihoods collapsed. The crisis forced Somaliland to adapt. Merchants sought new markets and improved local meat processing. Reliance on a single commodity ended. Diversification began. The Somali diaspora became crucial, sending remittances through Hawala networks. These funds kept families afloat, supported businesses, and financed public projects. Remittances became Somaliland's de facto central bank. The private, citizen-led response showed resilience beyond IMF models. Innovation and adaptation replaced dependency. Somaliland turned crisis into opportunity, strengthening its economic foundation. Somaliland's leap into mobile money defied conventional economic models. With no central bank or formal banking, Telesom launched Zod in 2009. This simple mobile platform let people send, receive, and store money with basic phones. Adoption was rapid. Shopkeepers, herders, and city workers all embraced it. Zod became the main medium of exchange, making the economy nearly cashless. Financial inclusion was achieved without outside help or brick-and-mortar banks. The system made transactions efficient and safe, and remittances easier. Somaliland's government adapted to this new reality, working with private platforms. It was a homegrown solution tailored to local needs. Once again, practical innovation trumped rigid, top-down theory. While the world focused on southern Somalia, Somaliland quietly built a democracy. Transitioning from clan consensus to multi-party politics was risky, but leaders saw it as essential. In 2001, a constitutional referendum established a multi-party system and reaffirmed independence. Peaceful, credible elections followed, local, presidential, and parliamentary. International observers praised the process, despite their government's non-recognition. Challenges arose: close results, disputes, delays, but political maturity prevailed. The losing candidate in 2003 accepted defeat for national peace. The blend of elections and traditional mediation proved resilient. Somaliland defied the narrative of Somali failure, showing democracy was possible. Yet recognition never came. Praise was always paired with calls for Somali unity. Somaliland's democracy was for its people, not foreign approval. Their journey was a testament to their own values and determination. Somaliland's deep-water port of Berbera was underused for years, lacking international investment. Recognition barriers blocked access to IMF and World Bank funding. Change came through commercial engagement, not diplomacy. The UAE's DP World saw Berbera's potential as a gateway to Ethiopia. In 2016, a landmark deal brought $442 million to expand the port and build the Berbera Corridor. This commercial agreement bypassed political obstacles, signaling confidence in Somaliland's stability. The project promised jobs, growth, and regional integration. Ethiopia became a key partner, deepening economic ties. The strategy: build economic facts on the ground, not wait for recognition. Commerce succeeded where diplomacy stalled. Berbera's transformation showed development is possible without formal statehood. Somaliland's future now rests on pragmatic partnerships and regional integration. Somaliland's story challenges the standard playbook for state building. Self-reliance, local context, and bottom-up solutions proved more effective than top-down models. The absence of the IMF and UN created space for innovation. Peace was built by elders, not outsiders, blending tradition with democracy. Fiscal discipline and private sector growth replaced foreign aid dependency. Mobile money and the Berbera port show major development can happen outside global systems. Shared identity and national will fueled Somaliland's resilience. Despite isolation, Somaliland built a peaceful, functional state. Recognition remains elusive, but de facto sovereignty is undeniable. Somaliland's journey forces the world to rethink what it means to be a nation. Somaliland's experience is more than a regional anomaly. It's a case study with lessons for a changing world. In an era where fragile states and contested borders are commonplace, Somaliland shows that legitimacy doesn't always come from international paperwork, but from the trust and participation of people on the ground. Its journey underscores the power of local leadership, community-driven solutions, and the resilience of societies that chart their own course. As global challenges mount, from migration to climate change and digital transformation, Somaliland's story invites policymakers, scholars, and citizens everywhere to question old assumptions. Could more flexible, locally rooted approaches unlock stability and progress in other places left behind by conventional models? Somaliland may not appear on most maps, but its bold path offers a compass for those seeking new ways forward, where recognition is earned, not just granted, and where the true measure of a nation is the well-being and will of its people. As Somaliland stands at the threshold of tomorrow, its journey is far from over. The world is watching, some with curiosity, others with skepticism, as this unrecognized nation continues to write its own rules. Can Somaliland's hard-won peace and grassroots democracy endure in the face of regional instability and global uncertainty? Will its quest for international recognition finally find sympathetic ears, or will the status quo prevail? For the youth of Somaliland, the future is both a promise and a challenge. Many dream of opportunity beyond their borders, yet remain fiercely proud of their homeland. Entrepreneurs, educators, and community leaders are shaping new narratives, determined to prove that innovation and resilience can flourish even in the margins. There are still hurdles to overcome: economic isolation, climate threats, and the ongoing struggle for a place in the world community. But the spirit that rebuilt Somaliland from the ashes is still alive, restless, adaptable, and unyielding. The story of Somaliland is not just about what has been achieved, but about what comes next. Its greatest chapters may yet be unwritten, defined by the choices of today and the hopes of tomorrow. As we close this chapter, one thing is clear. The world can learn much from those who dare to build, to hope, and to dream beyond the map. While Somaliland's borders remain officially invisible to much of the world, its influence quietly ripples far beyond the Horn of Africa. In diaspora communities across Europe, North America, and the Middle East, Somalilanders carry with them stories of resilience, ingenuity, and hope. These global citizens send remittances home, invest in local businesses, and bring fresh ideas that help bridge tradition with innovation. International NGOs and researchers now study Somaliland's unique model, its bottom-up peace process, community-driven governance, and thriving mobile economy, as a case study for regions grappling with conflict and state building. Even without formal recognition, Somaliland's example sparks conversations in diplomatic circles and classrooms alike, challenging assumptions about what it takes to build a nation. The world's mapmakers may not yet draw Somaliland's borders, but its spirit is etched on the hearts of those who believe in self-determination and the power of collective will. As Somaliland's story continues, its real legacy may not just be survival or stability, but the inspiration it offers to others on the margins, proof that new paths are possible and that hope can redraw the map in ways that matter most. The echoes of Somaliland's journey remind us. Sometimes the world's most powerful stories come from the places we are told not to see.